Hi, I hope everybody's doing well. This is a message for everybody. This is about the selective service. We know males of 18 years of age or older, if they didn't do it when they were 18, are required to register for the selective service. And this is something that is law. So they may face fines and maybe even prosecution and incarceration if they don't. This is in consideration. I'll put it that way. With the way that the current system is going, there's been a recent decision to invest another $150 billion into the military service. This is making sure that they say that people are protected, the country is protected. The interesting thing about this is that they also let a lot of people out of the military recently because they felt that DEI just was not something that any government body or anybody needed. So they thought that it was then fair to discriminate against people. They also did things like, as promised, remove all the immigrants from the country. So therefore, when this enhancement of the military service that is to the value of $150 billion takes place, they're going to need people to then take up arms, literally. Now, people have to consider that this started in 1917 due to the fact that they had difficulty finding people and they had to make sure they knew they had enough people, and they then drafted and sent them on. Up until 1973, at the end of the Vietnam War, where people had had so much of, or too much of, fighting these battles that maybe they didn't believe in, and that weren't actually a battle for the people that were fighting them to fight. So therefore, the draft was abolished then, but selective service requirement still continues. The change that people may not be aware of is that there's a consideration to add females to the required selective service registration, which without it, people are not able to do things like receive green cards, if maybe that's something they're still doing in that country, that they're not able to get funds to assist them to go to higher education and other things that could assist them in their lives to improve or benefit from. So this is something that we need to be keeping an eye on. It is a possibility that there will be an idea to draft coming up due to the fact that there will be a need within the military because of the people that were let go, and also the current ideology about being involved in conflicts in other places. So, for people who have children who are already registered, or people themselves that are already registered, people that now we're thinking maybe will include even not just male children, female children, please be aware of what is going on. For those who maybe have decided they're going to stay because they feel they have nowhere to go, people that have decided that they want to be involved in this, everybody has the right to make their own decisions. I am only letting people know that there's a potential change coming, that it will include more people. Some people maybe also think that because if you only have one son or one heir to carry on your name as a son, or you have only two sons and they would only maybe draft one. It matters not. If somebody's eligible for registration, they have to register or face the consequences. And if they're eligible for the draft, yeah, they can be a conscientious objector, but again, then they will have to face the consequences of that. Brave people like Muhammad Ali stood up and conscientiously objective. Brave people like Jane Fonda let us know what was going on in Vietnam. And that, like I said, in 1973, came to the point where they ended the draft because people just weren't having it. They weren't interested in being involved in conflicts that did not belong to them. We all know the ideology of today and what is going on, and the fact that there are many people that have been removed from the country as promised. Those were a lot of the people that were within the armed services, serving and taking care of the security of the country. because that allowed them a way to have a legal right to stay in the country, whether they were brought there legally or illegally. It was a way for them to serve the country and therefore receive their residency and maybe eventually citizenship. These people have been removed, and there's plans to remove more of them. The person that is in charge says they don't like immigrants, they hate them, and they're removing them all. Well, who will be left behind? The people that will have to serve. These are people now that their benefits that would assist them if they had any need financially and even medically. The people that are in the greatest need, their supports have been removed from them and are in the process of being removed even further. A lot of these people are military veterans and their benefits have been cut. So we need to think carefully about whether we need to or want to be involved in what is going on, and keep an eye on the fact that there may be a requirement to be forced to be involved, which is something that to me would be concerning. I was concerned back in the 90s when, yes, there were things going on in the Middle East that maybe would require a draft. The reserves were taken, whether it was a mother and a father in the same family. Whatever the situation was, people had to go. And I was concerned because I had two brothers and a husband just married at the time that could have been drafted, I should say. So it is a concern now. I'm not there anymore. If you watch my previous videos, you'll know that quite a while ago I looked at the situation there and thought that my children, especially, not just me, my children would have a better chance for a better life somewhere else. So I made the move. But keep an eye on this. Consider that the draft may be coming around again and what you're going to do to protect your family. Because if mothers and fathers are going, who will take care of your children? The supports that we had to protect us in many levels of our lives, whether personally in our homes, which now they're just taking people out of their homes without any warrant. Within the schools, again, people are not being protected in the schools and not even being taught the appropriate things to allow them to live a fulfilled, enriched life. Within healthcare facilities, people are going in there and removing people. The benefits have been cut for people that need it the most. All of these things that are being removed from us make us vulnerable. Well, people that are there make them vulnerable. And like it was said previously, there's a dislike and a hate for immigrants, and those immigrants are being removed. But you know what? Those aren't the most hated. They're free of the distress. They're free of the threat. They're free of the lack of protection and the lack of support that is going on currently over there. They're free. They're gone, right? But the people that are there are the ones that need to be careful because they're the ones that are going to be utilized to bring forth what this ideology thinks is most important. And it's not going to be with their will sometimes because there's nobody to protect you to make sure that your ability to decide for yourself is preserved. So again, consider this well. Listen out to see what is going on. The 150 billion has already been allocated. So definitely the bodies will be needed to carry out this investment. So think carefully, decide what you're doing, do what is best for you and your children. And this is not just for certain people. I'm saying this to everybody that is there because although some people think what has been going on is great and it's not going to affect them, they're going to be among some of those that are most affected because everybody else or many of the other people have been removed. So everybody look out for yourselves, take care of yourself. Consider what would happen to you if tomorrow the draft was put in place because our children are precious to us, right? And we're precious to them.